Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to the Woodland Word Workshop. I'm your host, and today we're stepping right into the shoes of Professor Turtle to explore a completely new way of looking at language. Now, if you've been following along with our explorations of the Latin root manus, you know we've already covered a ton of ground. But today we're doing something entirely different. We aren't just memorizing boring vocabulary lists. Oh no, today we're building. We're going to uncover the hidden systems behind our language and look at exactly how you can decode thousands of unfamiliar terms using just a few handcrafted tools. Let's get started.
Here's our Woodland Workshop blueprint for today's explainer. We'll start in the morphology lab, grab our prefix and suffix tools, and then move on to growing word families and meaning transformations. Finally, we'll sharpen our detective strategies before accepting the champion's mission. It's a really clear, logical flow to turn you into a champion word detective.
Section 1. The Morphology Lab.
Imagine a busy, creative workshop where words, well, they aren't just solid, unbreakable objects. Instead, think of them as intricate puzzles made of beautifully handcrafted wooden pieces, just waiting to be assembled. To really grasp how this works, we need to define morphology. It's simply the study of how words are built using pieces like prefixes, roots, and suffixes. So the crucial point is that this exact skill, truly understanding morphology, is what separates your regional spelling finalists from the national level champions. It's the massive difference between struggling to memorize 1,000 totally disconnected words and actually understanding the core underlying system that builds those 1,000 words. Make sense?
Section 2. Prefix and suffix tools. Let's look at our building blocks.
To help us out, we've got Beaver Carpenter and Squirrel Builder joining us to show exactly how to use these prefixes and suffixes. Looking here on the left, we have our blue prefix blocks, like miss, re, and un. Prefixes are always attached to the front of a root word, and they basically change the direction or the condition of that word. Then on the right in green, we've got our suffix tools, like ow, meant, and tation. Suffixes snap onto the end of a word. You can kind of think of suffixes like branches growing off a tree. They don't usually change the core meaning, but they grow the word's grammatical function. They beautifully turn a verb into a noun, or maybe an adjective into an adverb.
Section 3. Growing word families.
All right, we're going to take our main root, manus, which literally means hand, and treat it like a warm, solid, wood-colored core block. From this single seed, notice how these words all stem from the exact same root. We start with the simple base verb, manage. Now watch what happens when we start adding our suffix blocks. We snap on and get manager, a noun. We add meant for management, another noun. Add able, and boom, we get the adjective manageable. And if we grab one of those blue prefix blocks from earlier, let's take miss and click it to the very front, we get mismanage. We took one simple root and grew an entire vocabulary family just by clicking different pieces into place. How cool is that?
Let's look at another branch of our word tree. We start with the word manipulate. Then we swap out the endings to get manipulation, manipulative, and manipulable. And this brilliantly illustrates a key rule of morphology. The core root meaning, which, remember, has to do with using the hands, remains constant and completely recognizable, even as those green suffix endings swap out and totally change the grammar of the word for different kinds of sentence structures. Section 4. Meaning transformations, going from literal to modern.
Because languages naturally evolve over centuries, the passage of time often changes a word's literal, handmade meaning into a slightly different concept for modern use. Here's a perfect example. Look at the word manufacture. If we break it down into its literal Latin building blocks, manus and facer, the ancient meaning is to make by hand. But look at the modern meaning on the right, to produce. It's a beautifully smooth conceptual transformation. We've gone from a single craftsman building something on a wooden workbench to a massive modern factory producing goods. The core idea of creation is exactly the same, it's just scaled up. We see the exact same thing with manuscript. Literally, it translates to written by hand. But today, the modern meaning is an author's original writing, even if that manuscript was entirely typed out on a laptop. Translating those literal wooden blocks from our morphology lab first makes it so much easier to infer, understand, and remember the modern definition.
Section 5. Word detective strategies.
All right, it's time to bring in Detective Fox to teach us the ultimate pattern recognition skill. If you want to decode any word you haven't seen before, you need his secret magnifying glass, which is this 5-step strategy. Step 1, find the familiar root. Step 2, separate the prefix. Step 3, separate the suffix. Step 4,
Guess the literal meaning based on those disconnected parts. And finally, step 5. Infer the modern meaning based on the context of the sentence you're reading. Honestly, if you follow these 5 steps, you rarely ever need a dictionary. You can literally build the definition yourself.
Let's test this strategy out with a quick prefix swap game. I want you to pause and predict right now. Look at the word mismanage. Based on the wooden blocks we've been discussing today, what happens to the meaning when we build this specific word? Go ahead, shout it out if you know it. Did you guess to handle poorly? Because if so, you are absolutely right. Let's break down these colorful blocks. We take miss, which means wrongly, and add it to manage, which originally stems from handling something with the hands. By simply snapping on that one blue prefix block, we altered the entire word's destiny. We changed it from a positive skill right into a negative chaotic action.
Let's do another one. A quick build-a-challenge. What word do we get when we combine the root manus with the suffix piece script? Mentally snap those wooden puzzle pieces together right now in your head.
Manuscript. Fantastic job. You are literally assembling handcrafted masterpieces in your mind right now. And you know, this is exactly how championship spellers and high-level readers process vocabulary. They don't panic when they see a long, intimidating word. No, they just calmly look for the puzzle pieces they already recognize.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it comes with a crucial warning. We have to be super careful of imposter words. Over on the left, we see true Manus words like manual and manifest, but on the right, mango, many, man. These are very, very common morphology mistakes. Just because a word starts with man does not automatically mean it comes from the Latin root for hand. A true word detective always looks at the full context before deciding if the root piece actually fits the puzzle.
Section 6. The Champion's Mission. As we wrap up our time in the peaceful woodland workshop today, just look at the beautiful tree of words we've grown. From just one single root, by adding many prefixes and many suffixes, you can unlock hundreds of different words. Morphology isn't some stagnant, boring list to be memorized. It is a highly dynamic, incredibly logical building system. When you master the small pieces, you genuinely gain the power to master the whole language. Which brings us to your champion's mission for the week. Every long word is really a puzzle waiting to be solved. Your mission? Stop skipping over words you don't know when you are reading. Instead, break them down. Find the prefix, isolate the root, identify the suffix. Try your absolute best to guess the literal meaning before you ever reach for a dictionary or search engine.
So, as you head out into your daily reading and writing, I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought. What hidden word puzzles will you decode in the wild today? Keep your detective magnifying glass handy, look for those prefixes and suffixes, and start building. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and happy word hunting.